Hello, I am Chris McMahon. I'm a health and mindset coach, and I want to help you uncomplicate health and fitness. So let's get into it. Today we're going to talk all about the 4 things you need to know in order to lose weight. That's it. The 4 things you need to know in order to lose weight. Now, I've been doing this whole health and fitness thing for over a decade now, and I've worked with lots of different clients. And the one thing that I see pop up over and over again is like, what diet is the best? Do you think this diet is better than this diet? I'm not naming any diet because pretty much no matter what I say, someone's going to get upset, and I don't really want to deal with that. But the reality of it is, a diet does in fact work. Like, there's a claim out there that diets don't work, and that's not true. They do work. They put you in some form of caloric deficit, and you will lose a specific amount of weight, or you will gain a specific amount of weight. Diet just implies whatever caloric needs we're taking to get us toward whatever goal we want to get toward. Now, diets, some of them are more rigid than others. The rigidity of a diet defines the likelihood of you being able to find success within it. I'm not going to dive into those, but basically my thoughts on it are as follows. Don't diet. If we follow a diet in the attempt to lose weight, let me go further. If we follow a diet that is rigid in the attempt to lose weight, the likelihood of you, well, 1, not following through on the diet, 2, following through on the diet, but then falling off the diet and then gaining everything back and then kind of doing it all over and over again, well, that likelihood goes up quite a bit. We've all seen it before. It's happened to us before. It's happened to me before. It's happened to clients before. It's happened to my Aunt Karen before. No matter what diet you pick, if it is super rigid, it kind of leans into this idea of all or nothing thinking. And it perpetuates the idea of, well, the failure of dieting. It's kind of a cycle. It is. We do the diet. We stick to the diet. We lose the weight, we have a bump in the road, we gain all the weight back, we feel bad about ourselves, we try the same thing over and over again ad nauseum. It doesn't work. So what I'm going to talk to you today is about the eating skills matrix. Graphic. So the eating skills matrix. So there is an awesome coach, Josh Hillis. He wrote the book Lean and Strong, Psychology, Workouts, and Eating Skills. It's a fantastic book that dives in to this thing called eating skills. What are eating skills? Eating skills are basically learning how to listen to your body to give it what it needs, right? There are some things out there, like intuitive eating, where that's the primary focus. Now, here's the problem. If you're trying to lose weight and you're doing something like intuitive eating, that defeats the purpose. Because the goal of intuitive eating isn't necessarily to lose weight. It's to learn how to trust your body again. It's to learn how to nourish your body again. So we got one part eating skills, which is the listening to your body. And we have the other part of eating skills, which is the idea of guidelines. Guidelines are suggestions that you can follow that make it easier for you to learn the skill of listening to your body. Skills imply we're going to practice, make mistakes, practice some more, make more mistakes, learn from the mistakes, make a lot of progress, then make some more mistakes and make more progress from those mistakes. We can't be following all or nothing. That is the problem with dieting. Usually it leads to all or nothing thinking. So we want to get away from that, and instead we're going to practice eating skills and practice using guidelines. Those are the things. So what are the 4 things? I held up 8, but really, what are the 4 things? The 4 things are as follows. This is the eating skills matrix. You can bounce back and forth between any of these and you'll find success. So we're going to cover the skills first. So we have skills that we can practice during a meal and between meals. At the base level, what we're really trying to get toward is during meals, we want to notice when we're getting full and stop eating. Notice when you're getting full and stop eating. That's what we're working towards. That's what everyone's working towards. Is it easy to do? No, it's not easy to do. But that is what we are working toward. And as we practice, we can get better at it, right? This is something I'm working on all the time, and I'm coaching a bunch of people on how to do the same thing, and it's hard, especially if we're tired, especially if we're stressed, especially if we're running around, especially if we haven't eaten enough during the day, right? There are all these things that are at play. Between meals, what we're working on, the skill of being able to distinguish hunger from any emotion, feeling, from boredom, from being tired, from being exhausted, right? We need to be able to differentiate hunger from any of those other things. That's usually where some of the weight gain can happen, is the fact that we're eating when we're not actually hungry, when we're eating to try to fill an emotion, when we're eating to try and deal with the fact we're tired, when we're snacking because it just looks good and we grab it, right? And again, there's nothing wrong with that per se, so long as we can actually be mindful of it and recognize we're making that choice, because then it allows us to take that information in and make a different choice. That's where it gets to be pretty cool with eating skills. We're always on a sliding scale of success, and we can always work on uncovering more. Now, you might be looking like this and saying, this sounds great, but I have no idea how to do this. And it's true, you might not have any idea how to do this. Even on my best days, sometimes I don't have any idea how to do this. In that case, I like to focus on guidelines. Now, before I dive into guidelines, I want to make something very, very clear. I'm going to zoom in right now at my face. I'm not very good at editing, so maybe it happened, maybe it didn't happen. But guidelines are not rules. I'm going to say it one more time for the folks in the back. Guidelines are not what? Rules. Guidelines are not rules. If we're trying to treat them as rules, then we're dieting. And if we're following rigid diets, well, we know the likelihood of that working out. Guidelines are simply there for you to try and you to acknowledge what's working, what's not working, and it makes it easier for you to obstacle plan, which is something we'll probably do in another entire video about. But the guidelines that we're going to use, these are the two base guidelines. So during meals, we're going to plate balanced meals. You're going to plate balanced meals with healthy portions. That's literally what you're going to do. Why are we plating balanced meals with healthy portions? Well, first I'm going to tell you what a balanced plate is. All right, a balanced plate for my purposes and the purposes of eating skills, the way it's coached, the way I work through things is this. 25% carbs, 25% protein, 50% fruits and veggies, and a thumb of fat. Why all that? Well, most of us aren't getting enough fruits and vegetables, fiber into our diet, so we are working up towards having 50% of it being on our plate. Why 25% carb? Well, here in the United States, most plates are made up of about 50% carb. But when it comes to weight maintenance or trying to lose weight, we generally want to make sure that we're having a balance of everything. And it also is harder to recognize when we're getting full, etc., if we are putting things out of proportion, right? The other thing is 25% protein. A serving of protein, super, super important. But again, if it's the primary focus of our meal, we're missing out on the fiber and everything else that can kind of help us break things down, right? So we want to have that balance of everything. And a thumb of fat because, well, fat is amazing and we should be having it in our meal. We should be having carbs in our meal. We should be having everything in our meal. But if we're having a lot of fat, it can kind of skew when we're getting full, hunger and fullness, things like that. It messes with our ability to actually finish our meal. Okay? If you're eating balanced plates, it is easier to determine when you're getting full and to stop eating. If you're eating a balanced plate, it's easier to determine when you're getting full and to stop eating. If we are eating things that are skewed or out of balance, it's easier to overeat or easier to undereat. So we want to find that happy medium. And of course, it's not always going to be perfect, but it gives you a framework. It allows you to recognize, what am I lacking? What am I having too much of, right? No judgment, actually. It's just a way to let you know how I can refine this. Now, between meals, the guideline is eat a meal every 4 to 6 hours. Sorry, eat a balanced meal, balanced plate, every 4 to 6 hours without snacking, right? Eat a meal every 4 to 6 hours without snacking. Why is this so important? Well, because if we're eating every 4 to 6 hours and we are having a balanced plate, you usually won't be hungry. I'm sorry, that's how it works. If you are eating a balanced plate and you are eating a healthy portion of each thing in that plate, right? You are having the actual amount, the likelihood of you being hungry between really, really decreases. And when things aren't balanced plates, the likelihood of you snacking between increases. The likelihood of you gaining weight increases. The likelihood of you balancing weight or being able to lose weight, that goes up if we're having those balanced plates, right? So they kind of all blend together. And also, if you are having your balanced plates and you're like, okay, I'm doing that. You know what? I'm getting hungry between meals. It makes it easier for you to recognize the skill that we talked about between meals, which is distinguishing true hunger versus any other feeling of boredom, of being exhausted, or an emotion, right? So if you're able to do that and you eat every 4 to 6 hours, the likelihood of you losing weight at a sustainable rate will increase. Now, here's what people get hung up on. Well, so if I do this, am I going to lose like 30, 40 pounds in like 6 to 8 weeks? No. If I do this, will I have to, like, what about my macros and how am I going to do? No. Those things like macro counting, like weighing your food, all of those things are tools. Maybe there's a time and a place for it, but I'm not a big fan of using those tools all the time. There's a time and the place for everything. The important thing here is to learn how to eventually trust your body again and to be able to make decisions that are in alignment with your goals, but more importantly, alignment with who you're trying to be, how you're trying to show up in the world. That all plays an important part in your ability for weight loss, in your ability to maintain weight, in your ability to make decisions at the end of the day. So, will you lose a ton of weight? I have no idea. I don't know who you are. I don't know if you actually even need to be losing weight. What I do know is pretty much everyone could benefit from balancing your plate. And pretty much everyone could benefit from being able to distinguish when you're hungry versus being tired or bored or feeling a particular emotion. These are things that can carry over for anyone. However, if you are trying to lose weight, these can guarantee success, and these are what is usually missing from any sort of rigid dieting. So, if you watched the whole video, amazing. Here's the thing, I would love, if this was helpful for you, to subscribe so you can get more videos, more content like this, to comment below with your biggest takeaway or any other questions you have, because I will try my best to make more videos like this to answer questions. And also, so you liked, you subscribed, comment, share the video, share it, because sharing is caring. And also, that's pretty much it. So yeah, I hope to be making more of these, and stick around because we're gonna have some cool stuff.